I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I am Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
I'm Tristan Miller, the saucy sleuth.
Boo.
Today's...
Spicy meatball. I'm just sopping in sauce over here. I'm made of pasta sauce.
Ew.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I live an immersive, shameful life. Melissa, please take it away.
Okay. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/adcpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/adcpod. And I have been listening to recently Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's Good Omens on Audible, and it is fantastic. Really good performance.
Yeah, I've listened to it a couple of times. It's well worth the Audible credit because it's also like 12 hours. So
It's pretty long, but
yeah.
But like one of those very long ones that you just revel in every moment.
Absolutely.
So has it proven to be a good omen for you?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
It sure has.
Of course.
Good things happened today.
Yep. Absolutely. So what did we watch today, people?
Well, yes. Since we are in February, which is, of course, Black History Month, we are doing some media with Black detectives solving some mysteries. Mm-hmm. And today we watched Devil in a Blue Dress, the 1995 film. It is a neo-noir mystery,
Ooh.
which is based on Walter Mosley's novel of the same name.
Yeah, I think this character comes back, like, it's a part of a small series, right?
That makes sense.
There's
I feel
about
like I've
14
heard this.
books.
Yeah, which is it's pretty sizable.
Yeah.
I
I think this is the origin story.
Yes, this
one.
is the very first.
Do you think that Denzel was hoping for a franchise?
Well, I mean, this is 90s Denzel, so yeah, probably. I mean...
Yeah. As you may
fair.
have guessed, this one stars Denzel Washington.
What other Denzel is there?
know.
Apparently
There must be
for
a few others.
you... Why don't you tell the listeners how many Denzel Washington films you've seen?
Okay, let's get this out of the way now that we're on the subject. I have seen exactly 2 Denzel Washington films, to my knowledge. Now, I may have seen other Denzel films not knowing he was in them when I was young.
Know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. It was this one, and then the remake of Magnificent Seven that came out in, I think, 2014,
goodness.
yeah, which is not a great movie. He's good in it, but he's good in everything. He's very consistent.
I mean, I don't even understand how that's possible. I feel like you could accidentally see more Denzel Washington movies than 2.
That's true. That is fair. I need to see Training Day.
Yeah.
Because it also has my boy Ethan Hawke in it.
It's
You
very
need
good.
to see Mo Better Blues.
Okay.
I haven't
You
seen
need
that
to see
one,
Malcolm
actually.
X.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Equalizer 2. I haven't seen the first one yet, so I can't really say much about the first one.
I know someone
But
who is
2.
just obsessed with Equalizer on Twitter. Richard Nebley, I believe his name is, and he just is like, no, this movie is the dopest thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's great. I'm glad that movie has an audience or someone that like really loves it, which
I
is
really
great.
feel like we
I'm
could...
quite
go ahead, Melissa.
I'm quite sure I've seen at least 12 Denzel Washington films.
know.
At least.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of it had to do with my mom's love of like period dramas.
Then how have you not
Growing
seen
up.
Glory? Or A Soldier's Story?
There's no excuse. There's no
I
explanation.
don't know. I cannot tell you. I think I was watching Star Wars and Lord of the Rings over and over and over again.
Okay.
And I think that's what I cared about as a child when those movies were coming out. And then I think once I went to New York and acting school, they were like, okay, you have to watch all this, like, method actor era stuff. Despite everyone going, no, Denzel is a great actor in school. Never, I don't know. I have no idea. It was just a blind spot.
Well,
Yep.
we have not seen,
And I
to
mean-
your credit, Space Denzel. That has not been a
Space-
thing. He has never done a movie
Yeah.
in space before.
I would love Denzel Washington to be a lead in a Star Wars. I do like how he's very open of like, yeah, I do movies so I can be on Broadway
Yeah.
and not make any money,
Yeah,
which is dope. He's
absolutely.
like, yeah, I love theater.
Yep.
Movies are fine. Who says one of the greatest living cinematic actors? It's like,
Oh, yeah.
movies are whatever, but I
These
love
two
theater.
Oscars are nice.
Yeah.
Um,
I got to see him in Iceman, and he was brilliant.
ugh,
Good. I'm
that
glad.
sounds wonderful.
I think this has been an opening, so I'm gonna just go through a Denzel phase probably.
Good.
So,
As well you should.
Mm-hmm.
There's also other people in this movie.
are there really the
Yes,
I know.
because Don Cheadle is in this movie.
Cheadle.
Donald Duck
Yes.
himself,
Oh,
the dog?
yeah. And then there are other people in the movie that don't matter.
Was this Jennifer Beals what was she? What was she? Flashdance or Dirt? She did a dance.
Yeah, she
film.
was
She was Flashdance.
Flashdance, and this is post
Okay.
Oh,
because Flashdance came out in the 80s.
Okay. I only really
heard her
know her
name-
from the L Word on the Showtime.
Oh,
Did not
okay.
know she was in that.
I didn't either. Okay.
Cool.
Well, yes, this one was not super. It didn't do super well in the box office, but it was positively reviewed. So it was just
Yeah.
one of those.
Gotta take your ups with
Should
your
have done
downs.
better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However, I don't know.
Could you imagine if he came back to this character now?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Like one last case.
He
Yeah.
may be
We
able
didn't
to. I
make
don't
any
know
of
the
the other ones.
year that the latest book was set. I know the book came out in the late 2000s. The last
Oh.
book.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I'm not sure like how many years after that took place. So
Yeah.
it's possible that this could be potentially revisited.
Yeah, because
I can't speak this morning.
that
It's
is
all right.
all good. Because yeah, this film is what, 24 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gross.
Oh my
May I
god.
say I was 3 when this movie came out, and that's why I didn't see any Denzel movies. I was 3.
I was 4. Explain that.
That's fair. You got me. You got me.
Well, it takes place in 1948 Los Angeles, and what are you?
Sorry, but okay. So 1940s, because like LA is such a thing now, and we're very aware of it. Just like him talking about like going over to Los Feliz in the 1940s just blew my mind. I was like, of course that's the case,
Sure.
but like, what the? What do you mean? There's not a coffee shop there?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that.
Like it was just very, because like of course that city existed since the gold rush, but it's weird to think about it being anything but like
What it is now.
yeah.
Sure. Well, we get a very nice jazzy opening sequence.
We sure
We
do.
get some very noir narration style. And we found out through this narration that Ezekiel Easy Rollins, which is of course Denzel, has just lost his job. And it was kind of gross how he lost his job.
Yeah.
Meaning the person who fired him was being racist and awful.
Yeah.
And he's worried that he's going to lose his house.
Yeah, 'cause
So,
he's got that mortgage.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's very proud that he bought a house, though.
Right, yeah, he was able to do that after the war, where he served. And I was watching this with my boyfriend, and at one point they pan over his uniform, and my boyfriend, who's in the army, is like, "Corporal." I'm like, "Okay." Great.
Just the world's smallest corporal.
Yeah, pretty much. So Easy is sitting in a bar with his buddy Joppy, who is a bartender. And Joppy introduces him to a very shady-looking man named Mr. Albright. His mustache seems to signify a creepy dude.
I think he's a bundle of rats in a human suit.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
His whole look was not on fleek, as the youth say.
Yes, Tyler.
I stay here.
And I think, yeah.
Unless we're going for, I probably am in some sort of organized crime.
Yeah.
Then he was absolutely spot on with his getup. But yeah, so he comes into the bar and suggests that Easy come work for him. And Easy asks him, what do you do? And he says, we do favors. Or we're in the business of favors. So that doesn't sound shady at all.
Yeah, that sounds like a normal thing to say.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you get a W-2 for that?
you know, when
Most
you're at a
assuredly
party,
not.
somebody has to organize the favors at the end, like little goodie bags for
Yeah,
people to
that's
take
true.
home.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to be
Oh my
in charge.
gosh. Can that be my job? I would be so good at that.
I
You
love
actually
the
would
dive
be
of chocolate.
really solid at that.
I loved. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Hire me. So, but that's all I want to do. I just want to
I just
shop
want
for.
I want to buy things and put them in smaller bags.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what I would like to do.
With cute ribbons and labels.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ideal.
Yeah. Lots of organza. So Easy considers this for a little while. We get some hemming and hawing and some narration. And he decides that he's going to just go visit the guy that Albright suggested, see what the deal is. So he goes to meet with him, and the guy says, okay, I need you to find the girlfriend of Mr. Carter, this mayoral candidate. Carter has just dropped out of the mayoral race, and now his girlfriend is disappearing.
Yes.
Has disappeared.
Is gone.
Yes. Is somewhere we know not.
Yes.
But she's known to hang out in some of the black neighborhoods in Los Angeles, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So he asks Easy, why don't you go ask around? And Easy's like, is that really it? That's it? It's like, yeah, totally, absolutely. And we'll give you $100, which today would be like 10 times that. So it's a pretty good sum of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Seems fine and not at all suspicious.
Yeah.
Everyone is wearing really good hats and driving really cool cars.
Oh, the
Dope
cars.
fits, dope rides.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. And men in hats in particular, big fan. And when I'm not talking about baseball caps, although baseball caps are lovely, I say while I'm watching Tristan wear a baseball cap.
Yeah. All
I
good.
complimented Tristan
But-
on his hat earlier this morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah,
Very pleased.
but we got fedoras and bowlers, and it's so good.
Fedotos.
What?
Sorry, there is a Jake and Amir sketch where they say Fedoto.
Okay.
And that is what Christina refers to it as, and now that's part of my life.
Yes. All right. That makes sense.
A Fedoto.
Somehow we got there to a place where.
I do love all the double-breasted suits as well.
Yeah.
And I also love, there's a specific chic that is permeated throughout the entire film where you wear a tank top and then a baggy collared shirt over the tank top, and that look is fire, and I love it so much, and I cannot tell you why. It looks so comfortable. I'm about it.
So Easy goes into this secret illegal music venue, bar, club like place that
Yes.
looks awesome. And
John's.
Yes.
while he's on his way there, there's like a store, I guess, down in the front or
Yeah.
downstairs, and there is a man named Mr. McGee trying to get in there. A white dude named Mr. McGee trying to get in, and the bouncer, Junior, throws him out.
Yeah.
And once he gets upstairs to the venue, he starts asking around about this girlfriend of the
Where the white
former
woman at?
mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That moment. Oh, it was so good. I can't. Also, the only thing I could think of was Blazing Saddles. It's so good. Ugh.
Oh, but sorry, before
yeah.
Easy gets into the bar, he's on the staircase with Junior. And
Yeah.
we also get a
Right.
bit of their back history, as they do not like each other. And
Oh, that's
Easy
right.
rags on him for smoking Mexican cigarettes.
And
Yes.
And Junior is like, yeah, but I didn't have somebody killed, so like I think I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Alluding to something,
Yeah.
during the war, or?
no, like
Alluding
What
to
is
a
he-
situation between, alluding to a situation that he and his friend Mouse were involved in,
Oh, sure,
involving
sure.
Mouse's stepdad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Easy's upstairs and asking where the white woman is. And
The question on everyone's mind during the electoral process.
goodness.
Oh, he
So-
went there.
Yep.
Yeah. Indeed. He meets this guy named Dupree, who he has I guess, a friendship with.
Yeah.
Or at least knows him. And his girlfriend, Coretta.
Mm-hmm.
And Coretta is thirsty for
Yeah.
Easy. Oh, my goodness.
The most realistic part of this movie is how everyone is so thirsty for Denzel.
Oh,
Yeah.
a
I
thirst
get it.
trap indeed.
Yes, a trap of thirst. She is parched, as they say. And I get it. He's got a tight body and a big energy, and the way he walks in this movie is just, he is strutting, and it is powerful.
Styling and profiling.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
I was never one who really was like on the Denzel train in that way. Like, sure, I thought of him as an attractive gentleman before.
Mhm.
He's like scientifically handsome.
Yeah.
I think that,
Yeah.
But this movie
kinda
was like another level.
Yeah. And I think it has to do, once again, with something with the tank top thing. Because, like, I had the same thing with Marlon Brando of, like, okay. I guess. And then I saw Streetcar, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, no, I get it.
That's true.
There's something about, like, a man in a tank top and high-waisted pants kind of ignoring everybody that's sexual. I don't know.
With some good arms.
Yeah, with some good arms.
No, yeah, I've always, then, now, forever for Denzel. Absolutely.
You might be onto something in this tank top thing. When I saw Angela Bassett and what's
you
love
see
got to do
someone-
with it, those arms.
Yeah.
Arms are a
God.
big thing. I
Yes.
don't think people realize they're as big of a thing. Like, that's Adam Driver's, like, main... I don't think men realize how big of a...
Okay, yeah. I'm
thing
looking
arms
at.
are.
Adam Driver, like, he doesn't have arms as much as he has, like, just wings.
That's true. They are... He's got a mighty wingspan on that thick boy. Like, yes.
And he got
yeah,
beak for
arms
days.
are. Arms always, yes.
I have this conversation constantly with Christina of, like, men have no idea why they're attractive to women 80% of the time. At least straight men are like, what? I don't get it. Like, why do you, like, I don't look. And I think that, not to get too deep into the weeds here, I think that definitely negatively impacts, like, straight male self-esteem.
Sure.
Because it's like, oh, women are attractive, men are not. I am a man, therefore it's not of consequence. Which is why I think a lot of straight men just also don't take care of themselves.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
the flip side of that where there's just so much pressure on women
Yeah.
to be. Yeah. So it's anyway. That's
Yeah.
that's an.
A whole nother podcast.
Though,
It is.
the characters
Though.
in this film, the men seem to be, for the most part, taking care of themselves.
That's
Like,
true.
as far as
Yeah.
grooming and, like, making sure, like, they're dressed to the nines when they're going out and...
What I will say about that is there seems to be, and I would like your opinion on this, Tyler, there seems to be a cultural thing, a cultural difference there.
Welcome
Where-
to ADC's Ask a Black Guy.
Yeah,
This
pretty
segment
much.
is brought to you.
By uncomfortable pauses and trying to learn more. like there seems to be a cultural difference.
No,
in, like,
I do think there is, especially during that time period. If you look
Yes.
look at any film from that period or that takes place during that period, you'll see that there's a lot of emphasis on appearance. You have, a lot of people in the culture that are, blue collar workers. Like when they dress up and go out, like it's their one night to like really go out and feel good and like leave the stress of the work week and all the BS racism and all that at home. Like you're out, you're having fun, you want to look good, because when you look good you feel good.
That's completely fair. Yeah.
Do you think it also comes from a place of like, we'll accept a white guy in sweatpants, but the minute like it's not, people are like, oh, that's threatening? Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. I think there's a negative perception, unfortunately. I'm trying to be very tender with my words here.
Yeah, I mean,
Of I think we're more willing to accept, like, if a white guy comes in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt,
okay.
he came from the gym. Whereas if it's a black guy or a Hispanic man, it's like, or woman, they're like, hey, what's going on there?
Okay. I think that's
Yeah.
more so nowadays.
yeah. I catch your point. Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely hear what you're saying. But I think that's more so now than then. But then again, I wasn't, of course, alive then. My back was. But I, as a conscious being, was not.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there is certainly a feel to society now where it feels like, obviously, white men have to do the least amount of work in order to be, accepted by everyone. There's just a, like, there was a thing going around about Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who it's like, this guy wasn't that impressive, and yet the judge at his trial was like, what a waste of potential. It's like, he wasn't that great, honestly. He was just a, moderately handsome white dude who actually ended up being the worst.
Yeah.
And that repeated somewhat recently with the Brock Turner thing. Like, look at this poor, young man, and his whole life ahead of him ruined by just a few minutes of rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How unfortunate for him. Forget about his victim. Anyway, yeah.
But back into the color thing for just one more thing.
Absolutely.
This is wildly still off topic, but
That's
there
okay.
was
Okay.
a brilliant episode of Blackish on ABC recently that dealt with colorism. That I think harkens to a lot of. Actually, I don't think it's off topic at all. Like, we'll get into
It's
it
not.
later on as we get to know Coretta a bit more in the film about, colorism within the black community and, like, the perception of beauty and beauty standards, especially in our culture, back then and even today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get a little bit further into it so we can continue that discussion. So Dupree and Coretta are there at the venue where Easy is asking around about this mayor's girlfriend, this mayoral candidate's girlfriend, I should say. And Coretta gives him a look when he asks about her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that is. Like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like you do.
Yeah.
And you don't want to say anything. Her boyfriend ends up getting really blind drunk.
So drunk.
Yeah. And, like, passes out, falls asleep.
Yeah. So Coretta and Easy bring him back home. And then Coretta and Easy get a little intimate. Wow.
Yeah.
her
More than a
boyfriend.
little.
Little, yeah.
Yeah.
That sex scene is so long.
It's very long. And, like,
It's so long, they stop and have a conversation, and then they begin again.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
like it. Okay, this is gonna sound away, but I didn't mind it being that long.
oh
Yeah.
Just because of the way they shot that scene, the way that scene was scripted out, like
yeah.
it was uncomfortable but natural, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It felt, I shrug, realistic. I mean, a little, in ways. It was very much, I mean, aside from like the conversation in between.
Well, I mean, I think people talk during sex
Oh,
more
yeah.
than they think. Like conversationally, not like, sexy
Yeah,
talk.
right.
Like, oh, did you remember to do that thing? Oh, right. And then you get back. Like, it ebbs and flows. And it also
Yeah.
is one of those things of like, her boyfriend is like in the other room.
Yeah.
So it is an uncomfortable
Yes.
situation. And the scene reflects that.
Yeah.
And they also, during sexy times, they're getting into it. So during this conversational break, this pause, and the action, if you will,
Flag on the field.
yeah, she stops and she's like, we shouldn't do this. My bad. He's in the next room, and you're asking after my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
And Coretta says that the woman's name is Daphne,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the mayor's girlfriend.
Oh, and also, it is brought up that, or Coretta asked the question, what colored women aren't good enough for you?
Mm-hmm.
To
Oh,
Easy,
yeah.
because he keeps asking about Daphne, Terrell Carter's missing girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he's like, no. Someone wants to know.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't know who this person is. Don't much care. Just trying to figure it out.
Doing a job.
Yeah. So then we learn through narration that Coretta eventually tells him who she is. And then, wait, what did he tell her? What did she tell him where she was? Told him, that
About
she's
Frank
been
Green.
seen around a man named Frank Green.
Yes.
Yes. Then we have a scene where Easy goes out onto a dock, and a white lady starts chatting with him.
Yeah, this.
Oh, gosh.
Uh-huh. And then some idiots start harassing him for having a conversation with this white woman.
Now, this, I think, would be a good time to mention. This movie is rated R.
Oh,
so
yeah.
do not watch this if you are not of age to see a rated R film. There are several adult themes, specifically in this weird scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's up,
So-
you cool babies?
Yeah.
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 Pretty much. And then these jerks are like really almost about to. Well, they're.
They want to scrap.
Yeah, they do. And Albright.
Fighting.
Albright turns
That's
up.
not the fisticuffs.
Yeah. Who you fighting, I believe, is what the youth say.
Is it?
As you know, the most youthful person on this podcast.
I have the soul of an 85-year-old man, trapped in a vial, but it is mine.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's sometimes you gotta just do it for the vine. Am I right, Tyler?
You do.
Yeah.
do.
Uh-huh. So
Hashtag
Albright,
flossing.
Albright turns up and pulls a gun on these jerks.
Yeah, which at first you're like, dang, that's kind of badass.
Yes.
Oops. But then it quickly takes a weird turn.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And-
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just holding a gun to this one jerk's head and
And not even like the main dude.
no, just one of them and threatening to kill him right there. And finally even Easy's like, no,
Hey.
come on, this is enough, please.
And he tells the dude to suck Easy's Peter. I had never heard of it referred to as a Peter before.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
had never heard that.
Oh, that's like 30s, 40s slang, my guy.
Oh boy.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's an uncomfortable scene, and I will say Denzel's face is so good because he's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. Don't make him do a thing I don't want either, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just none of this.
Yeah, this whole thing is bad for everybody.
Yeah, so he talks with Albright after he doesn't shoot this man.
Does clock him in the face, though.
Yeah, I mean, that seems fine.
Sure. Or should I say he clocked him in the face?
Oh.
Ayo.
So, AZ tells Albright the information that he got out of Coretta.
Yeah.
Then,
Which is
after
that
he
Daphne
leaves-
is at the Skylar Apartments, right?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
With
Frank
Frank Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, a couple of detectives turn up and,
Oh, right, this whole thing.
yep, and arrest Easy
Yeah.
with absolutely no explanation. And I turned to my boyfriend. I was like, wait, is this before Miranda? And he says, nope. I'm like,
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just show up, they cuff him, and they take him to the police station.
Yeah.
I was going to say department. The police department.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. But yeah,
Third floor.
because Easy says, I have a right to know what I'm
Yeah.
being taken in for. And they're like,
You have the right to
Whatever.
get your face broken, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Very, very Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Mhm.
And then they start to question him with still no explanation and are assaulting him. And it's super gross and awful.
Yeah.
But they finally, because they start asking about Coretta, and I don't remember exactly the context, but they do say that Coretta wouldn't be waking up anytime soon.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what now?
Oh, yes. He said
Yeah.
that, like, oh gosh. They got drunk, and did he and Dupree have words? And he was like, no, Dupree was asleep.
Right.
And they're like,
Yeah.
Coretta was asleep too, but she won't be waking up.
That's right. That's what it is. And so after a couple of hours of him just after this awful questioning segment, they release him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Cool.
what's
cool,
going
cool.
on? And then a car picks up Easy on the street.
Oh, and this schmuck.
Yeah. And the guy wants to talk about Coretta. And there's a big white guy and a kid inside. And yeah, it's the other mayoral candidate whose name is Terrell. And he's very, I put in quotes, nice to Easy.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Offers him for cab fare home.
Yeah.
He tries to he even says at one point, I'm a friend of the black community.
Right.
Lucky for you, that kind of thing. And he's very clearly trying to butter him up to get some information out of Easy.
Yeah. And so he's like, no, I don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
That's fine. I will walk. No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then in the middle of the night, Easy gets a call from
Yeah.
none other than Daphne Monet.
Yes.
And
Monet,
he-
Monet.
He goes to meet with her and find out more about Coretta. And my stomach just told me that I'm hungry.
Good.
That's fun audio.
Yep.
Sorry about that, internet.
But I love, like, how, like, there's just so many small details in this film that just, like, really, like, it was just really nice touches, I thought. So when Daphne, like, calls him and, like, gives him instruction, like, where to meet her,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm staying in the white part of the hotel, so you'll need to go meet this person who's going to sneak you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's
and
something I think I would have thought about if he had just, like, gone up and appeared in the room. Like, I don't think I would have
That's
thought
fair.
to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense.
Right. Whereas I, as a white person, have would have had no concept. I would have been like, oh, he's going into a hotel because of my ignorance.
Yep.
But you know, it was a really, really great detail to have in there to highlight the the period and everything that was going on.
Yeah, they definitely
The
don't
climate.
hold back,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And what I will also say, they don't do that thing that a lot of movies do of like try to make it like very uncomfortable or pointed. They're like, this is just how it is,
Yes.
how it was, and this is the story we're telling. Whereas like there's at no point is there except for I guess Terrell, but he's a scumbag. At no point is there like a nice white guy that comes in and is like, hey, I think this is all whack, right?
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Right. Yeah.
Though
So-
for Terrell, using whack in a context, I think, has a different
Yeah.
connotation.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it. Yep.
Oh,
Oh boy. So when he goes to see Daphne at this beautiful Ambassador Hotel,
so much tension between these two actors.
Yeah.
It is palpable.
Yes.
And I was palpitating.
yeah, and she wears her dresses in this are amazing.
Ugh.
Every single one of them, every single blue dress this woman wears
Yes.
is fantastic.
Yes.
She only wears blue dresses
Yes.
entirely.
But is she the devil?
I know that. I
Keep
mean,
listening and find out.
We will see.
so she asks Easy. And we learn that Coretta was lying about Daphne's whereabouts. Like she's been at the
Yes.
hotel. And Easy's like, well, I guess you were paying her more than I was.
Yeah.
Because to be clear, Easy paid Coretta for the information about Daphne. Only the information, nothing else.
Yes.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's getting really flirty. And she also mentions, yep.
No, it's
Oh,
like
you're
fanning
fanning
myself.
yourself.
I
I
was
thought you
fanning
were
myself 'cause
like,
it gave me
Melissa,
the
stop
vapor.
talking.
No. It gave me the vapors, I believe, is what the youth say.
Yes, they do. Confirmed.
Vapor.
I hardly.
They
Vape rig. Vapor rig. I don't know. Let's move on, please.
She wants Easy to drive her to her boyfriend Todd Carter, but first she has to run this errand.
Yeah.
With
That
the-
she doesn't want Todd to know about.
Right. It's like, oh, that doesn't. Okay, well,
That
I
sounds
guess I'll...
super cool.
Great, let's do this, I guess. Yeah. So they drive up there, and the door is wide open,
Ooh.
and it is McGee who was trying to get into the bar club.
Yeah, John's bar.
John's place.
John's bar, yeah. And he is extremely dead.
Yeah, like not even a little.
No,
He's not mostly dead. He is extremely
Extremely
dead.
he's really most sincerely dead. And yeah, he,
Oh, that was fun.
like, not to get too graphic, but
Mm.
when they talk about someone's brains being blown out,
Yeah.
there we go.
Once again, this movie is rated R.
Yes.
Or
Rated R.
restricted.
Yeah. So they're both very shocked and disturbed. Oh, and there is a packet of Mexican cigarettes next to the body. Daphne drives away in the other car that was out front.
Yeah. But it's also kind of hysterical because, like, Denzel is like, Easy's just like, oh, let me, like, look for clues. Let me see what. And you just hear the car go, and he runs after. He's like, Beans, my
yeah.
ride.
Well,
Like, I
no,
was
he still
happy-
has his car.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
Melissa, you were gonna say it. I think.
Oh, no, that's okay. He still has his car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She took the other car that
Yes.
was there.
But it was very, like, he's gone.
Yeah. Yes. And what happens next?
He comes right home, and he finds his door ajar,
Ooh. How'd it got ajar? I'll never know.
and the radio is on, and he's just like, he opens the door, and there's like two gentlemen there.
Yeah.
He like walks in like very confused, doesn't question the first guy, goes past the second guy who's like, "Oh, you served?" And Denzel gives him this look that like I can't even describe. Like, he just, like, looked at him like, how dare you just have the audacity to just be up in my house and then have the nerve to just, not a hello, just a question about, like, me serving?
Yeah.
F out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
He then sees Albright, who Denzel, like, finally loses it. Or, sorry, Easy finally loses it. And is just like, what are you doing at my house? Like, what makes you think you have the right to just come up in my house?
That I own.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
And
the
then-
entire point of him taking the job in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. So Albright responds with, again, like, I think it was a knife this time, to, like, Denzel's throat.
Yeah, I think
Saying
so.
that Easy, I keep calling him Denzel. My apologies to
It's
Denzel's
fine.
performance.
Yes.
Knife to Easy's face and is questioning Easy over the bad intel that he received.
Oh,
Because
right.
he
Oh, yeah,
went
yeah.
by the Frank Green address that he
Green.
was given by Easy,
Yeah.
only to find that Frank Green had moved out of that place over a year ago. Albright sends Easy, like, to continue on gaining intel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right, of course.
And Easy's like, yeah, no, too many people are dying around me right now. Like, I'm out. I'm not
Yeah.
having any part of this.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Albright's
right.
like, oh, really? Because you're kind of connected to 2 murders right now. So you're going to do what I ask you to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty easy to pin this on you, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then after that, he's like, I gotta call my boy Mouse, because he knows what to do.
Yes.
He does.
And so they're trying to figure out what's going on with this woman, Daphne, and why everyone's so
Yeah, like,
Why-
what does she have on
interested in
these
her.
Yeah.
people?
yeah.
Yeah.
So then he meets with Carter, right? The fiance.
That is correct. He goes straight to the top,
Yep.
is what he says in his narration, which
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yep.
I love it. It's so corny.
So he
Yeah.
shows up to Carter's place. Like, he speaks to, I guess, like, somebody who's, like, on staff at his
Yeah.
office. And she's like, yeah, no, like, you're not seeing him without an appointment or, like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he doesn't want to know what happened to the girl that just ran out on him?
Yeah.
And everyone, like, all loud and wrong.
Yeah.
So then this
And this guy comes and he's like, hey, buddy, no.
Yeah.
Not here. Just come here.
But we do find out that
taken into Carter's office to meet with him.
Uh-huh.
And then finds out that Albright was not hired by Carter to find his fiance. And in
Yeah.
fact, he thought Daphne was, like, miles away from here at this point. And had no idea that she was even in town.
Wow.
yep, the plot thickens, as they say.
Yes.
So then Easy tells Carter that, you know, he'll keep looking for her if he pays him $1,000.
Yep.
And he wants $200 up front in cash.
Yep.
Absolutely, gotta pay that mortgage.
And I do love, I love that. He's like, I'll write you a check. And he just goes, I'll take cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so dope.
Yeah, it's real good.
Then he returns home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To find, there's also, like, this wonderfully
Oh, right.
obtuse storyline in which, like, this guy is just walking around this neighborhood cutting down trees.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he's-
gosh, yes.
I was hoping one of you could explain why he was doing that. Is it ever established?
I don't think it's ever
No!
established, but I think
Is
he's
he well?
I think he's, like, cutting down these trees, like, hoping, like, to, like, get money from, like, lumber yards. Like, that's the only
Yeah.
thing that I
Ah.
can think of.
Yeah.
But isn't he, like, not even cutting them down, but he's, like, taking them by their roots?
yeah, he's
No,
trying
he
to
has
resell
an axe
the.
with him.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, he has an axe.
Okay, that's
He
right.
doesn't seem well. He's constantly bothering Easy and everybody in the neighborhood about the trees.
Yeah, and it does come off as kind of comical though, because Easy is constantly having to chase him off. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Stop it!
But this
It's
fell.
broad daylight.
This guy, he's like, hey, and Easy's having none of it.
Yeah.
He's like, don't talk to me about the trees. But he's like, no, there's a man inside.
Yeah,
And as
yeah.
soon as said there's a man, we see this man, like, wielding, like, it looked like a pipe at first, like, going to, like, whack Easy in the head. They struggle, like, they fall literally into the house. There's a bit of a struggle.
Yes.
A knife is brought out, and you realize when the knife is brought out that this is most certainly Frank Green.
Who
It's
has been
established before that, like, Frank is known for using a knife.
specifically, yeah.
And that's
Right.
why he's not suspected of Coretta's death, because...
Yeah. It was a blunt force trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they struggle, they fight. Frank end up getting the upper hand. He's, like, about to slit Easy's throat.
Ooh. It's very tense.
Uh-huh.
When guess who shows up?
Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mouse.
Oh boy.
The best character in this movie. And I did look up, when I was looking up details about the movie, it didn't win a ton of like major awards or anything like that, but it did win some more awards here and there. And I think the majority of them were for Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
He's very good in this film.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. His
Crazy, but so much fun.
Yeah.
Mouse loves two things: money and shooting people.
Yes.
That is what Mouse loves, and I respect that, because if not, you would get shot. So, like, you
you
gotta.
It's very clear. Like, it's very clear what he's about.
Yeah.
It is very
he knows
clear.
himself.
Yeah. And so Easy gets out of the situation thanks to Mouse shooting Frank in the shoulder.
No, well, what happens
Yes.
is
yeah.
he threatens him with a gun. They start questioning Frank, and he's not telling him
Oh,
anything.
right.
And Mouse is like, "Hey, Easy, let me take this one," and he just shoots him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And Frank runs away.
out.
It's so funny.
Yep.
It made me laugh out loud. I was so shocked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was very surprising.
Ugh.
And can I just say, for them so Easy's trying to, save his house. He's trying to keep his house. His poor house gets treated so badly
Trash.
Gosh,
in
yeah.
this movie. It's like, every Marvel film ever where, they go inside somebody's house and it's like, oh no, I feel so bad for the homeowner.
Yeah.
So at this point, they go to Dupree's house, right?
Yes.
To question him about Coretta.
Yes.
Oh
Because
my gosh. And
This poor
my
man.
heart hurt so much
Yeah.
during this scene.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this bit?
Oh, sure. Basically, they show up, and he's very sad. He's very depressed. He couldn't stay at Coretta's house, which he had been doing previously because he had lost his job. So he's back in this place that is not particularly great.
Yeah, he's at his sister's house.
Yeah, and it's really rough. And he said he's very broken up, and he bursts into tears at one point. And so they Mouse decides to pour him an entire glass of
Yes.
bourbon. Like a full glass of bourbon. He's like, drink all of this and it'll be better. And then it jump cuts to the bottle being empty. So they're all drunk.
But even before that, the conversation where they are talking about Coretta's death
Yeah.
and like speculating on what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Dupree blames Daphne for like introducing, Coretta to these white men, and the police say that she fought back her attackers. So he thinks that instead of her just laying down and sleeping with some man, she fought back because she could only be with him.
And it's so
And
sad.
meanwhile, Easy is sitting right across from him, looking him
Yeah.
in his face, knowing that he slept with Coretta while Dupree was asleep in the next room.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I hurt so
It's
much
so
for him.
sad.
Yeah. Poor
It's
guy.
a sad scene, and the actor, who I don't know who plays Dupree, is so good.
I don't have his name handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But great chops.
Yeah.
But they all get drunk. So because during the course of conversation is like the only thing that Dupree has left of Coretta is this Bible that she gave him.
Yeah.
And he's like, it must have been a sign. It must have been really, because she was really religious, so she must have known. When really, have found out that there's something.
There's a letter or an envelope.
Or something that Coretta had.
Yeah.
That Daphne had given Coretta
Yes.
to give No, that someone had. Sorry, that McGee had given to Coretta to give to Daphne, and then Coretta had kept it for herself because it was leverage.
Right.
And so she gave Dupree this Bible, and so Easy and Mouse get Dupree drunk so he can go through his things. And he finds the Bible, and in the Bible, in the envelope, there's a series of photographs of Terrell with naked children.
Yeah. Terrell, the other mayoral candidate.
Yes. So it's
The
clear that
so-called nice
nice
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what's the whole thing is about the photographs that are being used for blackmail to stop the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's this after that's revealed, there's this weirdly comical scene where Mouse is drunk. Easy wakes Mouse up, and Mouse pulls a gun on Easy because he's drunk and he's half asleep, and he's like, I got it. And so he has to convince Mouse to give him the gun, and he does. And then he pulls out a second gun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so at that point, Easy's just like, forget it, I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
You just stay here. And so he leaves Mouse and Dupree both passed out with two guns on the table, and it is hysterical.
Yeah.
It's a really great bit.
Hello, everybody. This is Tristan Miller, the saucy sleuth, coming at ya. Great. So, today we are brought to you in part by Audible.com. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Go to audibletrial.com/adcpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's just that easy. Go to audible.com/adcpod to get started today. We do a lot of listening to books here. We have recommended several books. I will continue to recommend them. You should get the audiobook version of A Beale Street Could Talk. It is a very good novel by... Oh, man. Christina's going to kill me. Hey, honey? Yeah. What's Beale Street? Who's Beale Street by? James Baldwin. By James Baldwin. Thank you so much. You can also support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Tristan J. Miller to support us there. We're trying to upgrade our studio setup so Tyler and Melissa don't have to huddle around one mic. Okay, let's get back to the program.
So then this is when we go to Junior, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So Junior tells them that after the fight with McGee, he drove back to the hills to pick up money. Mm-hmm. And when Easy pulls out the packet of the Mexican Zapata cigarettes, that he's like the only person they know that smokes them.
Yeah.
That the ones that were by McGee's dead body. Junior's like, no. I didn't do this. I promise. Seriously, this wasn't me. But yeah, that's basically that, right?
Yeah, there was like a little bit of a fun bit where like Junior is like, no, like I had nothing to do with this, and like, no, like I don't even know who that was, like I never, did anything.
Yeah.
And then like they like lightly questioned him, and he was like, I didn't even touch anything in that house. And the Mouse is like, dude, you just gave yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You schmuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's clear that Easy does not like Junior, and Junior does not like Easy, and that is one of the main reasons they go there. He's like, I wanted to see him sweat.
Yep.
Which is mean. Which is very interesting that, like, and I think it's marvelous casting, because Denzel rides this line of being a jerk, but also being very likable and sympathetic.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's very good at it.
The cops show back up.
Oh, gosh, yes.
He is approached by the police again, who then try to re-arrest him because they have now found McGee's body.
Yes.
And in McGee's pocket was the name Coretta James.
Oh, right. So
now
he's connected to everything.
They want to link Easy to both murders.
Yeah.
And the way that Easy gets out of this is by saying, no, hold on, just give me to tomorrow to dig something up.
That's right. Yeah.
Which they do because they don't have anything on him.
Right.
But a white man is dead, so somebody has to go down, and this is the most viable option for them at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
All right.
Next, he goes back home, right?
Yes.
And again, like, it's revealed that someone has been in his house or is in his house.
Lock your door.
My
For
goodness.
real.
How does this keep happening?
Yeah.
But it's Daphne!
Yeah.
So everything's okay, but not really.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably not gonna,
Yeah.
get into a big gunfight, are we?
Yeah. We'll see.
But we learned that from Daphne that she's like kind of been hiding from her fiance because of her connection to Frank Green.
Yes.
Yes.
Which still is assumed up until now that she's been messing around with Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doing the mess around. Everybody, come on, doing the mess around.
Ray Charles, R.I.P.
Yes.
But we learn, in fact, that Frank Green is Daphne's half-brother.
Yeah.
Daphne's mother, being a Creole woman from New Orleans, had given birth to two children by two different men. Daphne's father was white, while Frank's father is black.
Yeah.
Therefore making her super fair-skinned.
Right.
Yes.
And able to pass.
Yes. Which was something Christina brought up within the first 15 minutes of the movie. They're like, is she just passing in this movie or is it part of it? And she was like, cool, I'm glad it's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who, like, knows Jennifer Beals, like, background going into this, like...
Yeah.
You're not,
I
at all
did not.
phased.
Yeah. I didn't know either. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was very cool on the casting department's part of, like, also finding someone who passes rather than, like, that whole... that could have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Could have been Natalie Wood's situation, but...
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
Natalie wouldn't do that.
Oh. No, he wouldn't.
No.
Yeah. So, of course, this is a big thing because the mayoral candidate being involved with a woman who is not, Lily White is a huge scandal and it's so gross. I feel gross saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really icky. Yep.
And it's the reason Carter dropped out of the race.
Yep. So Terrell, the pedophile, found this out, and that's why Carter dropped out. Yeah.
Yep. And then Daphne got the pictures to counter blackmail, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait, wasn't McGee took the pictures, right? Or was the one that got the pictures and then
sold them to her? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. For $7,000.
Yes.
Which is so much money back then.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so Easy figures out that Albright killed McGee while looking for these pictures.
Yes. And it's also revealed that, unfortunately, the person that killed Coretta is Easy's good friend, Joppy.
Yes.
Who was there to scare her into giving the pictures, and it got out of hand, I guess.
He, accidentally beat her to death. Oh.
Which is a terrible... Oh, gosh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unpleasantness in this movie.
Yeah. Just a reminder that this film is rated R.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we get into it.
All right, and then this, at this point, Albright and his men show up, break into Easy's house, and kidnap Daphne. And thus the third act begins.
Yep, pretty much.
So they take her there. Easy calls Mouse and is like, meet me at such and such place, because Easy doesn't go straight after Daphne. He goes and he gets Joppy.
Yeah.
As, like, not exactly revenge, but also, like, to prove a point.
Yes.
He knows where
Albright is,
where the location is.
Yeah.
So he kidnaps his friend and local bartender Joppy.
Yeah.
Mouse is there at one point, Easy mentions that Joppy did kill Coretta. Mouse is driving. He pulls out his gun and shoots blindly in the back seat.
And
the man is just willing to murder.
Yeah, twice. And oh my goodness,
it was
takes
so
out
scary.
the entire back windshield.
Yeah. And oh gosh, of that beautiful car.
Yeah,
and
that is sad.
Yeah,
poor car.
So of all the victims of this, the car surely. Yeah. But Joppy eventually agrees to lead them to the cabin in the hills where they have a hideout.
Yeah.
They go there. Easy says to Mouse, just tie up Joppy.
Yeah.
Don't shoot him. Please. I am begging you. I know you want to. You love to shoot.
Yeah.
Just tie him up. Do not shoot him. And I'm going to go try and get Daphne back. And he goes, and there's gunplay because they're about to quite terribly burn her with a fire stoker.
Yeah.
Stoker. And it's terrifying, and it's that point that Easy starts the gunfight and does shoot, like, pretty accurately a guy right away.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He actually, as I was watching, because I'm, of course, watching with my boyfriend who's also in the military, and so it's making me realize, this guy has got army training. Easy has army training, and it kicks into gear.
Yes.
Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's one of those, right the moment before they're about to attack Daphne, he shoots inside the window. It's great, actually.
Yeah, it's a very good action scene. There's a lot of gunplay. There's a lot of beats of silence and then gunplay again, which is fairly realistic.
Yeah.
And then it looks like over the course of the fight that Easy is going to lose.
Yeah.
And then once again, Mouse shows up with his gun, just blazing in.
Yep.
And just kills them on sight.
Yeah, he is ruthless.
Yep, and
basically, there's a very sweet moment with Easy and Daphne, and he's like, "Are you okay? Can you stand?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then he takes his coat off and puts it around her, and she's shaking, obviously, because she's in shock.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's also army training. That's very cool that he's like, oh, she's in shock, probably. She should be covered.
Yeah.
And so they go back to the car, and Easy is like, "Hey, where the heck is Joppy, Mouse? Did you shoot him?" And he's like, "No, I did not. I did choke him to death, though."
Yes.
"You said don't shoot him, and I didn't shoot him, but he is dead." And Easy just sits down. Poor Easy.
Yeah.
This man he's known for years.
Yeah.
And he just sits down. He's like, "Man, this sucks."
And then Mouse says, "I mean, it's me. You knew what you were getting into."
Yeah.
Basically.
If you didn't want him dead, why would you leave him with me?
Exactly.
Which is a fair point.
Yep.
And I don't even know if we are adequately explaining from all of the moments we've been explaining with Mouse how good Don Cheadle actually is in this movie.
There's no way to know unless you watch it. And I highly recommend it. If you have Amazon Prime, I think it's on like the IMDb.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
It's free with commercials.
Yeah.
Which is how I watched it.
It's
me
so
too.
worth it, even with the commercials.
Yeah, and also, it's making me also, much like Denzel, go back and go, okay, I need to watch everything Don Cheadle's been in. Because I've known him as two things. One, the guy from Iron Man, and two, Donald Duck.
Do you just like watch black actors in two things and you're like, oh, I'm done here?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, Todd, up until recently, a little bit. It's a thing that I'm working on.
I'm sending you a list tonight.
I would appreciate that. I'm trying to expand my horizons.
You're watching a black film a day for Black History Month.
I would love that.
That sounds great. That
sounds
idea.
really cool. I think Christina would also be very appreciative of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys have to come over. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We're making plans now.
But
This is just us.
Also, basically, so from here they go to Carter.
Yeah.
And Easy is like, found her. And
Here she is.
Here she is, and he's like, "Oh, I did not actually. I still don't. I love her, but I cannot be with her because it will ruin my career."
Yeah.
They
You
do
have
give
this
him.
heartbreaking narration by Denzel when they first drive up and you see the arguing between Daphne and Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he already knows as they're pulling up that he is not going to take her back.
Yep.
But she is so in love and just cannot see past her
With
love
a-
for him.
With a very not great looking man, may I say. A very normal to, why is
Yeah.
she him?
Yeah.
Him? He
Oh,
must
yeah.
be really nice. He must be so nice.
Very nice.
Yes.
Great personality.
Reality.
Yeah.
My wife.
Really good.
Yes.
And nice.
Yes.
Okay. Except that, I mean, the gosh.
No integrity.
No, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this money that she's going to pay Mouse and Easy with is coming from a large sum that was given to her by Carter's family
To move away.
so that she would
Yeah. And that's a bummer.
Yep.
That's a huge bummer. The whole
And that-
movie is
yeah.
kind of a bummer.
It is.
Except for Mouse, who loves killing and joking.
Yeah, things he has his things that he does both things. He gets that money and he shoots people.
Yeah.
Both of those things happen for him.
And I love the scene. So they drop Daphne off at Frank Green's place.
Yeah.
And she gives him the money.
Yeah.
And then there's this beautiful scene between Mouse and Easy where he's calling a cab and Mouse hands Easy a envelope. He's like, "I knew you were too soft to actually get your half in the money. Here it is." And then he says something like, "If you ever need something like this in town, you know where to find me. You know how to get a guy paid." And
Yeah.
it's so fun because he's just like, "Oh, I had a great weekend with my friend Easy. This was
Yeah.
so fun." And Easy's like, "I lost my friend. My house is in ruins."
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
Yeah.
But through narration, we learn that after a day, Easy's like, I got to give this money back. So he goes to
Yeah.
Frank Green's place, and they've gone. They've already left.
Yep.
And then there's this really nice scene where he helps chase off the man with the trees,
Yeah.
and then he looks around the neighborhood, and it's basically like, well, friends are, and family and community are what's important. And
Yeah.
it's a very nice note to end on.
And
And
he's there with his friend Odell.
Yes.
On the porch, and Odell's like, "Well, what are you gonna do? Have you found work?" And he's like, "I've saved a bit, and I think I might, go into business for myself."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, he decides to really go into private detection.
Yes.
Yeah.
From mechanic to private eye. It's very cool.
It's really great.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the movie.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think
Yeah.
of the movie?
But this is the 5-stash scale, right?
It is a 5-stash.
Oh,
scale.
sure.
Yeah.
Gosh. I think 4.5 stashes out of 5. Really, really enjoyable. Good movie. Good
Yeah.
movie. It was just a good movie. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much more to say than that.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 handlebar, which I think in terms of stashes would be 4 3/4 of
Yeah.
regular stashes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Interesting conversion rate as always, Tyler. Okay. Anything specifically about it?
The only reason that it didn't get a full 5 for me
Yeah.
is that there were a couple places where it did kind of take its time.
Yeah.
Sure, that's true.
It is
Yes.
a noir, however, and that is a genre
Yeah.
trope of noir, is that they
Yeah.
are long and
So,
also boring.
Yeah, just for me, it just, if it there were a couple of beats that we could have cut, I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say about a 4.5 as well. I would gladly watch this movie again, but it
Yes.
is not something that I'm going to actively okay, it's time to watch Devil with the Blue Dress again. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, my boyfriend was like, I want to watch that again.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah.
It's like, because I feel like I missed some stuff, and I want to go back and go back.
It's really good. It's very well executed. The casting is incredible.
The Miles thing I didn't get until, sorry for cutting you off.
Quite all right. Go ahead.
Like the whole, like when he's in Carter's office the first time, he was like, I thought she'd be Miles from here.
Yeah.
Didn't dawn on me until we were just talking about it that like, oh yeah, because he knows that the family paid her off to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of nice surprises, and I will say that normally I am very against voiceover in films, but it does work because it is a genre piece and it is done well. It's not heavy-handed or weird,
right?
Which I very much appreciate.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's overall a very good movie, very well written. I cannot tell you how well adapted it is, but that might be something we get into later.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And my stomach is telling me that it is now time. I don't know how much the mic's picking up, but I guess we'll see in the episode.
Yep.
Oh, also, apologies, listeners, if you hear a parrot in the background of this episode.
It's because he's holding a parrot hostage.
Are you watching Tucker and Courtney's bird?
No,
I'm down in South Jersey visiting my grandparents, and they have an African gray.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Named Smokey, who is very loud.
Okay.
I see.
I have not heard it on my end, so we will see.
Good.
All right.
I've heard it through several.
So, parrot and Melissa's stomach noises.
Dictate.
Yeah, it's been a very vibrant episode. But with that, I'm going to go get some lunch, and I call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club adjourned.
Gavel sound.